Welcome to video 2 in my How to Get Rich series. In the first video in this series, we talked about the importance of saving money and how it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is how much you save. If you haven't watched that video, please watch it now. In this video, the second in the series, we're going to talk about investing in yourself and whether college is worth it. This is going to be a really long video. If you're looking for get rich quick solutions, this is not it. You can just turn it off now. This is how to get rich in a slow, agonizingly slow, but sure fashion. If that interests you, keep watching. We've all heard this a zillion times, that the best investment is investing in yourself. Well, this has been repeated so many times, it's so trite that it's meaningless and worthless. Worse than that, a lot of times it's dangerously wrong, especially in the US. It used to be when people would graduate from college, anyone with a bachelor's was guaranteed a good job. That is not the case anymore. If you invest in yourself, go get a bachelor's, unless you get it in the right degree, you are going to graduate with an average of $29,000 in debt. That's what the average person graduating with a bachelor's in the US has in debt. You're going to have $29,000 in debt, and you're not going to have any better job prospects than you did graduating from college. That is not a wise investment. This is a good time to point out that some countries, the higher education is free. A lot of European countries. In that case, the numbers are different, but you're still going to need to run a spreadsheet because that 4 years in college, you are not making money. So you need to see if your job prospects are enough better that it makes sense to get your degree. But let's go back to the US. I said that in many cases, it does not make sense to get a college degree. Let's first look at the cases where it does make sense to get a college degree in America. As I mentioned, the average college grad in America has $29,000 in student loan debt when they graduate. So the situations where it's worth getting that debt, 3 situations in my opinion. Number 1, if you're in the top 10% academically in high school and you passionately want to be a doctor or a lawyer or some other very high paid profession, it can pay off in that case to get a college degree. The second, if you're in the top 10% academically and are very good in math and science and like it, then getting an engineering degree will pay off because the job prospects are good. The third situation where I think it makes sense to get a college degree is if you're in the top 1% of high school academically and you want to be a professor, a researcher. That is a great career path. Now, the downside of this, if you aim for one of those 3 and miss, you're screwed because, there's only so many people that get into med school. If you are a pre-med and graduate with some pre-med degree, that's great. But if you don't actually go to med school, you are not going to get a job with a pre-med degree. You're going to have $29,000 in debt and no job prospects. So when you aim for one of these, you got to follow through. So if you live in America and are not in one of those 3 groups, in my opinion, college does not make sense. I don't care what the fly-by-night university in the industrial park promises you in terms of job placement. They're really big on that, these mail-order universities. They'll get you the student loan so you don't have to pay a dime. And they'll put out these glossy pages that promise these amazing job placement percentages. It's all bullshit. Seriously, do not believe them. If you don't know what to do with your life, don't go into college, get into debt to figure it out. It does not make sense. If you don't know what you want to do with your life, a better option is to go into a junior college. Stay living at home. Don't spend a dime. Junior colleges are far less expensive. That is a much better way to explore different classes and different options. If you take classes at a junior college, here's what I'd recommend. Do not follow any of their degree programs. Take a full course load. Take half your classes, ones that you think would be really interesting, not easy, interesting. And then the other half of the classes, choose them based upon the ratings of the different teachers. Just take any class that has a really highly rated teacher, whether you think you'll be interested or not. If you're more of a math and science guy, but the best rated professor in the whole junior college teaches classic literature, take classic literature. Follow the good professors for half the classes. And remember, this is not a big party. You're here to find out what you want to do with your life. Don't waste time. Let's look at the big picture here and see what we're trying to accomplish. It would be really nice if when you graduated high school, you could just follow your passion. But seriously, it's not realistic. There's probably 1 million guys every year that graduate from high school that love being drummers, and their goal in life is to be a drummer in a band. That's great. 2 of them will make it every year. That is not very good odds. 2 people out of 1 million. So we need a better plan. You're going to have 2 careers. The first career is just something that you do fairly well so that you can make money and save money so that you can quit that job and do your real passion. So it doesn't have to be something that's your number one passion, but it has to be something that you're good at. For example, if you're not really good at math and science, but love repairing cars, do not go to college to try to be an engineer. That's stupid. Be an auto mechanic. It takes less training, you'll enjoy it more, and you'll make more money. Now, there's one skill that everyone who wants to become rich needs to master. It's how to use a spreadsheet. If you do not know how to use a spreadsheet, you need to figure it out right now. Stop this, Google to find tutorials and figure out how to do spreadsheets. I'm serious. You will never be rich if you do not know how to use a spreadsheet. There's all kinds of what if questions in life that you just cannot answer unless you have a spreadsheet. And please don't take a class. It's a waste of time to take a class. You are a very motivated learner because learning how to use a spreadsheet is integral to becoming rich. You are very motivated. You can figure it out yourself. Just start trying. When you get stuck, Google it and you'll find the solution. Let me give you 2 real-world problems that are very applicable, and you see if you can do a spreadsheet to solve them. This is your homework. Seriously, if you don't do this, there's no point in going on. You need to be able to do spreadsheets. First spreadsheet is going to, in this first spreadsheet homework assignment, you're going to calculate which is the cheapest car purchase decision over a 5-year period. So I'm going to give you 3 different options. You do a spreadsheet to figure out which is the best financial decision over 5 years. The first option, buy a 2-year-old Honda Fit. Second option, buy a new Ford Mustang. Number 3, don't buy anything at all. Use Uber or take public transit. Now, I'm not going to give you any data. You need to make reasonable assumptions for all this. This is real world. This is what you have to be able to do effectively if you're going to make good decisions. So, for example, go to Craigslist. Find out how much a used Honda Fit is. Go on to some insurance websites. Find out how much it will cost to insure these various cars. Check with Uber. See how much they charge per mile. Make assumptions on how many miles you're going to drive a year, how much gas it'll take, how much oils, how much maintenance. So which of those three options is the cheapest? Your spreadsheet is going to tell you. Second spreadsheet homework assignment. This is much more applicable to what we're talking about right now. I want you to see which of these different education options will allow you to have the most money in the bank in 10 years. First option, you go to college for 4 years. The average person is going to accrue $29,000 in debt. So that's the one number I'm going to give you here. You're going to graduate with an engineering degree and earn an average engineer salary. You're going to have to find out what that is. Google it. So that's the first option. College 4 years, $29,000 in debt, then an engineering job. Second option, you're going to apprentice as a plumber earning minimum wage for 2 years, and then you're going to be a unionized plumber for 8 years. Again, you are going to have to Google how much unionized plumbers make to find out how much that option is going to have after 10 years. The third option, no college at all, and you just go immediately into a minimum wage job and you earn minimum wage for 10 years. How much are you going to have at the end of the 10 years? Again, you're going to have to Google and make some reasonable assumptions when you do these. Real life, nobody's going to give you simple solutions. And you need to be able to do this stuff to make the proper decisions if you want to become rich. When most people think of investing in themselves, they have a very narrow definition, thinking that it just means going to college. In truth, it's much broader than that. I think people overestimate the value of a traditional education and underestimate the value of self-learning. You don't need a fancy framed piece of paper with a gold stamp on it. What you need is skills to get a job. Employers do not hire fancy pieces of paper. They hire skills. And you can get skills through self-learning. You do not need to go to a university to get skills. Let me give you an example. A lot of people in high school are interested in art. The mistake that most of them make is they go to some art college that's just a big party and they don't learn squat. And when they graduate, they have no job prospects whatsoever. Let me give you a better option. If you want a job in art, I guarantee this is going to work for you. Go get a copy of Photoshop. Work on it 4-6 hours a day. Learn to use it inside and out. Become an expert. Make sure that you know how to use every single feature in that mammoth piece of software. If you can show an employer that you're an expert in Photoshop, you will get a job. You will get in the door. And once you're in the door, you can move up. That is a much better way to get into the art business than trying to go to art school. Another example, you want to be a writer. A lot of people want to be writers, and nobody's hiring writers. The days of the local newspaper are gone, and even that wasn't that good. So you want to be a writer? Don't go to writing school. Getting an English degree, a BS in English, is not going to get you a job. Here's what I suggest. Get a copy of Microsoft Word or Adobe Publisher. Become a black belt expert in that piece of software. Know it inside and out. Spend 4, 6, 8 hours a day until you know absolutely everything about that bloated piece of software. What that's going to let you do, you're going to be a great editor. Companies need editors who know this software. You'll get your foot in the door, and eventually opportunities will open for you to write something. You know, it may not be novels at first. It may be an instruction manual for how to use a remote control on a TV, but it's getting your foot in the door. You're actually using your beloved English. So consider alternatives, self-teaching. Another example, near and dear to my heart, airplanes. I'm building my own airplane. I've always loved airplanes, models, everything. So you want a job in aviation. What a lot of people do is they go to A&P school. It's aircraft and power plant. You go to a expensive school. They teach you how to maintain planes. You know, it might, I don't know what it costs, $60,000, $70,000, but you get a good job. So that's one route. But you can teach yourself also. That's what I did. Instead of spending 60, 70, 80,000 on your A&P degree, go ahead, get yourself a set of plans and build an airplane. You can build an experimental airplane in your garage. And it's going to be the most amazing experience. At the end of it, you will know more than most A&Ps because you've built the plane yourself. You won't have a license to do that, but I guarantee you, you will have skills that will allow you to get jobs in the aviation field. For example, in building my plane, I found the two things that I found the most enjoyable were rib lacing, which is when you take this big needle, so you have a wing that has cloth on it, and you have to keep the cloth attached to the rib. So you basically sew to hold the cloth on the rib. It's called rib lacing. I love doing that. And it's a dying art. You know, people just don't do that anymore. If I wanted a job, I could go out and get a job doing that, and it's fun. Another example of how you do not need a certificate on the wall that costs $80,000. You can go out, get the skill, and get the work. So anyway, investing in yourself needs to be thought of in much broader terms than just getting a degree from a university. It also means investing in yourself, self-learning. If you're motivated, it's a much faster and better way to go. While I'm thinking of this, so I gave you your homework assignment of the 2 spreadsheets you need to do. 2 other homework assignments. I know, I'm a mean teacher. First book you need to read is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Covey. Second is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. These are 2 books that are essential that you read. So now that I've given you so much homework, I don't have to do another how to get rich video for probably another month or so. So work on this stuff, master it. Be thinking about whether it makes sense for you to get a degree or not, and whether it makes sense for you to go in debt. And as I mentioned, I do realize that there's a lot of European countries that the higher education is free, but you still have to factor in the opportunity cost. That is the 4 or 5 years that you're getting your degree, you are not making money. So you need to factor that in, because the whole point of this is to build a nest egg so that you can hopefully like a year's worth of expenses in the bank so that you can quit your job and start transitioning to your life's passion. That's kind of where we're going here, but we'll cover that in later videos. Again, I know this is a lot of information. It was a really long video, so thanks for hanging in there. This is not get rich quick. This is get rich agonizingly slow, but it is a surefire formula. And I know when I get done with this series, a number of people are going to watch it and say, you know what? I know this is going to work, but I don't want to do it. It's just not worth it. That's okay. As long as you're making a conscious decision that you do not want to follow your passion because it's too much work, that is fine. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Auf Wiedersehen.